This is WFC.
Good evening and welcome to the AFU WFC show with me, Matt Crane. Back with the original gang tonight. It seems like a while, or it feels like a while since we've all been together. So happy days. Gareth, how are we?
Yeah, good, thanks. Glad to be back. It's been a couple of weeks, but yeah, looking forward to this.
Yeah, good stuff. And back yourself as well, Anthony. How are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm all right. All good, thanks. Just sorting stuff out, but all good other than not being able to afford the football at the moment with Christmas coming up.
It's a bad time of year. I've got car insurance, then it's Christmas and everything else. It's just like all at once.
It comes at once, yeah.
I know. John, it feels like a while. I don't know how long it is, but you're back.
I am back, yeah, I'm back. And we'll be able to make a few matches over Christmas. I just hearing Anthony talk there about like money-wise, but unfortunately I'm working-wise, so unfortunately I'll be having a few Sundays off. Not every one of them, but a few of them. But yeah, that's Christmas in retail for you. But apart from that, absolutely fine.
Good stuff. Well, as long as you're not sleeping on no dusty floors and getting ill again, especially in your retail work, should be all good. Yeah. Good evening as well to everybody that's tuned in. We'll start then. We may as well start with what we've promised. Women's football weekend then. Happened the weekend just gone. Plenty of positives to take from it as well. But also, I think for me, and I don't know what you lot think, but plenty of improvements as well to be made. I read something that got me thinking from the Liverpool Feds manager, and she was sort of criticising it, saying that basically she felt that sort of tiers 3 downwards were not really included in it. You know, it was kind of pushed aside, and you know, it was more aimed at the WSL and the Championship. Gareth, I'll get your thoughts on that then, just mainly on those comments first of all. Do you think that we could push it more in general, not just tier 3 downwards, but as a whole?
I think what would have been the ideal situation to do is the FA Cup first round. Incorporate the FA Cup first round proper into women's football weekend and kind of really push that as an alternative. We kind of saw some fantastic results in there. John's internet's having a glitch at the moment, but Sarah a great result against Derby, and Feds winning their game in the cup, and some teams have set up some really kind of exciting ties for the next round, and it would have been nice to get that sort of pushed and promoted. It's a big thing in the men's game, and the first round proper is on TV. Whereas in the women's game, kind of nobody really pays attention until the fourth round. Not until January, when the WSL and Championship sides get involved, then people kind of start to pay attention. And it just seems like this would have been a really, really good opportunity to do something to help raise the profile of some of those teams. Now, I'm not expecting there to be a massive push and emphasis on the National League necessarily, because, it's women's football in terms of like attendances is kind of where it is, but there is interest in those leagues. There is interest in those teams. We see that from Forest getting 4,500 go to one of their games, National League record. So I think it would have been really, really great to see some push and some promotion on the FA Cup and kind of really go and get sort of bumper attendances down there. We saw FC really go all out for it, open the bar, get people in beforehand. And because the bar's not normally open for their game, so men's manager was down there kind of watching as well. So we kind of felt like a big moment for them, big moment for the club in general. Obviously, the result disappointing and the injury pretty horrific, and hopefully Eve's surgery today has gone well. But yeah, I just kind of feel like that would have been the main way to kind of push and include tiers 3 and 4. I feel like generally, I think it's good. I think it's really great having the games staggered. Kind of being able to watch more games is great. People. I saw the away days on YouTube. Kind of did the London Derby, came up to Walton Hall Park, recorded some stuff there, and then went to Man City afterwards. So, maybe would have been really, really good to kind of have Friday, Saturday, Sunday games like it was in the kind of first game, first weekend of the season. Use that Friday night slot as well, and kind of really spread it out and make it possible to watch every game. There's only 6 games in the WSL. You can spread those out over 6 different time slots. A Friday game, early Saturday, late Saturday, early Sunday, normal Sunday, late Sunday, and then you kind of got every game in its own slot, and that would have been really, really good. But no, I think it's doing okay. It's in the international break, which is ideal. And I'm not sure we're seeing kind of bumper attendances. I think the thing that now is really increasing attendances and will seek to increase attendances long term is what United are hoping to do. We've got that game against Everton in March at Old Trafford, and obviously I think that the hope there is that they get a massive crowd at Old Trafford, and then a percentage of those come over to Lee. I feel like that's going to be the way to go, kind of really now. We're seeing Leicester last season a couple of hundred a game, well, not last season, but season before. Now sort of averaging 2,500, 4,000 against United, sort of in the very first game at the King Power. But I just, for the record, I don't think that's just because it was United. I think it was just because it was the first game at the King Power, and they kind of pushed it as that. And yeah, I think that's the best way to go with it. And yeah, kind of really spread it out and make it possible to watch everything and go to everything. And yeah, just keep doing it, because attendances are increasing gradually, slowly. And I know you and Benny kind of touched on the target on Saturday's show, but I think that is a realistic target. It's going to be a challenge, but I think it's realistic. If they gone and said, "Oh, we want sellouts by that date," then it's a bit of a stretch. But 6,000 average could be done. I mean, some teams need to move. Chelsea would need to move to get that. But Chelsea sold out season tickets this year, which they've never done before. So we are moving in the right direction. We kind of need to be patient and not expect too much, because there are some clubs that are better followed than others. United, Chelsea have a good following, and Arsenal aren't too bad either. Then you can perhaps kind of those clubs kind of look at others and go, "Oh well, there was only a few hundred, there's only 800 at Everton at the weekend." Yeah, but what were Everton kind of getting 2 seasons ago? What were they getting at Southport? Probably not 800.
200.
Yeah, so if you sort of go, well, actually they're getting 4 times as many now as they were 2 years ago. That's a massive growth. It'd be like United going and selling out a 300-seater capacity stadium, which would be mental. I mean, probably could happen. But yeah, that's kind of like what we're talking about with Everton's growth over the last few years. And it's going to take time, and we'll get there. We just need to kind of be patient and not expect too much.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, then I'll ask this to you, Anthony. Obviously, Gareth was talking about spreading out games Friday to Sunday, which I think's a great idea. And I think if there's one sort of, I'm not going to call it a criticism, I'm going to say one thing that can improve. They only put 1 game, didn't they, on the Saturday, compared to, I'm sure last year there was more. I can't obviously say without looking at it, but do you feel that maybe that would have been better in terms of the WSL and the Championship, to perhaps put more games on the Saturday? Because obviously, come 1:30, that kicked off, and then after the London Derby, there was nothing. Would you maybe say that could be something that they could look at for the future?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Gareth says. Yeah, no, you want to try and be advertising the game as much as possible. So if you do have them games spread out and on TV, surely, like you said, it's international break. Surely they can make a deal with the FA or Barclays or whoever it is, and have them spread out over, so that there is a bit more advertisement of the game. And if it's on TV, then more people can watch. I know not everyone has Sky, but even BBC could have had a couple of games at least. And then, yeah, going down to Championship level, why not have something from the Championship on TV? You had Liverpool Durham this weekend, so that would have been a good advertisement for the top end of the championship. I know we talk it's very close up there, but I think they were first and third, or first. It was like a top two battle or something. So that would have been a good advertisement for the women's game in the championship level. So no, I agree, Gareth. I agree with pretty much everything Gareth said. Really, he's covered quite a lot of topics that are well. Obviously, we always talk about time and that, but yeah, like you said, it is something they should think about. And like you said, women's football, you can see the growth in it in the last few years. Such as there's fans like me, and I think like John, I could be wrong, but I think John, you weren't really involved with watching women's football, and now you're going to watch like Stourbridge when United aren't playing and all that. So you can tell it's definitely getting bigger attendance wise. It is a little bit disappointing, I think, that the attendances aren't consistent. I think you might be touching that.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit, sort of retaining fans, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why that is. It could be a number of factors of things, but all in all, yeah, no. If like you said with your question, if they did spread it out, it'd be a lot better. Yeah, like you said, one game on Saturday, wasn't it? Lunchtime kickoff, which was a good game. Basically, the Tottenham keeper kept Spurs in it, which fair play to them. It makes our point not seem so bad, but yeah, no, that's basically my view on it.
Yeah, John, I'm just going to give you a couple of questions before I ask you sort of about tier 3 downwards. But looking at here, again, comment here, 1 on Saturday and 4 overlapping Sunday. Sang here talks about staggering games as well, pretty much what we've talked about. Obviously, there's comments then about there was other good matches as well. Craig saying about sort of taking fans into consideration as well. What do you want, if you could summarize maybe all those points then, do you want to just do that and sort of give your thoughts as well, in terms of like staggering games? Obviously, like I say, Craig's is a good point, because how many times are fans taken into consideration? Very rarely. I know Chelsea, and I'm sure Sangle jumping on this. Chelsea have had a couple of early starts for trips away, and I've seen their supporters club leave at sort of 5, 6 in the morning. But yeah, do you just want to give us your thoughts and views on that?
I mean, you could argue that the most important people here aren't the fans, it's the actual players themselves. And what I've realised this season, and now that I'm actually chatting to some players, is that players want to go to matches too, and they can't because they're playing when they're actually, wanted to watch some of these games. Now, I appreciate over this weekend just gone, not many other teams played that maybe like that they wanted to go and watch. But if there are local games out there, they want to watch the opposition. They also want to watch better players than them to kind of get to see what they're all about. I get messages quite often saying I want to come to United to watch United because I'm a United fan, but I'm too busy playing, and that's all over the tiers and all over the country. As for the weekend just gone, it doesn't make any sense at all. Clashing them as they did, there's no need for that. Obviously, there's some sort of reason behind it, but it's not obviously looking after the fans, on this channel. And we've got Craig in the comments who goes to a variety of games as well. Why wouldn't you just try and make it more accessible for everybody? And to me, it doesn't make sense. But I think we need to start looking after everyone now, and not just, it's time for a change. And we've gradually done that with Sky and BBC. So I think it's there on WSL and Championship weekends. But for me, just take advantage now. We need to open it up and spread it across the week, definitely.
Yeah, and just going to stick with yourself, John, because I know, like has been mentioned, you do go to Stourbridge in Tier 5, but what do you think of sort of the lack of promotion down there? Because, Gareth mentioned it earlier, FC had to do a heck of a lot themselves, which is fantastic, but you just think maybe with a little bit more from, say, the National League or even the WSL, because they've got a bigger audience than the National League, just tweet, look at these FA Cup first round games. But what do you think? Do you think that's a fair thing? And you sort of agree with the Fed's manager that tiers 3 downwards is not very well promoted, or?
It's not very well promoted at all. I mean, you look at some of the clubs that I follow locally. I mean, I live in quite a densely populated area anyway, so there's so many teams in like a 10-mile, 15-mile radius. And thankfully, I think my local team, Stourbridge, are probably the best one in that area, apart from like the bigger ones like Wolves and like your Derbies and that kind of area. But even Derby is still miles away. So you look at maybe Wolves, but apart from Wolves, you've got probably about 20 other teams who are less good as, say, Stourbridge, and they got no chance of getting fans in because it's just not mentioned anywhere. The Twitter followers have got maybe less than 200. The players hardly are that interactive anyway on their own account. They might be there or thereabouts on other people's account, but it's very rare that it's football related. So even if they promote them themselves, it's not great. Stourbridge have a social media expert who does go on different platforms to raise awareness on their senior teams and academies. But still, it's very hard work for what it needs to be. All you need is just a bit of a push from someone that's got that following that can reach out to several thousand to try and open it up. Look, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, if I'm honest. But the way that it's just very hard for these tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 teams to get any exposure whatsoever. It's like that saying, isn't it? It takes money to make money, and in their case, that they need people watching them so they've got someone to reach out to. And at the moment, a lot of them haven't.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and just mention one more thing on Women's Football Weekend. If you go back to the first ever Women's Football Weekend, 1920 season, it's the first one. Remember, this is only the second one we've had with fans in, because last season it happened, but it wasn't really kind of one. We had games at both Anfield for the Merseyside derby and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the North London derby. Whereas this year, the North London derby was at the Hive, and the Second City derby, I can't remember where that was played. Was that, anyone know?
St Andrews, wasn't it? If it was Birmingham, it'd be St Andrews.
Yeah, but were Birmingham the home side or were Villa the home side?
Birmingham were the home side.
And even so, then that kind of wasn't really kind of promoted hugely well. Whereas you kind of feel like, if we kind of really, really gone for it and kind of got that, then you could have got bigger crowds at St Andrews and you could have had bigger crowds in some other men's stadiums. So I just feel like, although there were games happening in the men's stadiums, then they were kind of just a bit, there wasn't really sort of any additional attendance. To kind of touch on what Sang said here with kind of finance as well. Possibly, yeah, but really, how much money does it take to promote things? I think it takes a great deal. People aren't asking for expensive TV packages and deals promoting it on telly and all that kind of stuff, but just the WSL's thing, some tweets out if Arsenal could have sent tweets out about, if you've come to our game on Saturday, then go and check out a local game on the Sunday. And I feel like the whole thing really was women's football in name-ish. And really, I think we're so used now to things being on TV that, probably is due to prior commitments on the TV. But in which case, then surely you market that and you try and get Sky and the BBC on board, because the fixtures come out so late for TV. We're still waiting for December's fixtures to come out, and we're 2 weeks away. So there's no way that the league and the FA didn't know about kind of Women's Football Weekend before kind of the TV fixtures were there anyway. We know when it's going to be next year. We know that the calendar is out already for next season in the men's game, and we know that November international break there's going to be women's football weekend over that international break. So it's not like it comes up as a surprise. And yeah, I kind of feel like the promotional side of things could have done more. I feel like Leicester could have got more than sort of however many they got sort of travelled down to Brighton. They played at the Amex, but attendance wise wasn't massive. St Andrews attendance pretty poor there as well. And you kind of think the North London derby on Women's Football Weekend, why is that only at the Hive? So yeah, I feel like Women's Football Weekend kind of as a concept is great. But it would have been absolutely great. I think the thing that I really want to see now is tie in that FA Cup first round proper with Women's Football Weekend and really push that. Let's try and keep that sort of 2 p.m. time slot free and encourage as many people as possible to go to them FA Cup games. And let's kind of stagger the other games sort of a lot better than we did. Use that Friday slot.
Yeah. That said, though, on a lighter note, it wasn't all bad. I think all clubs, obviously WSL anyway, saw their highest attendances this season in their stadiums. So that was a plus, I think. Just looking at it now, Spurs versus Arsenal was just short of 3,000 at the Hive. Spurs also took the first point in any London derby. Villa women as well. That was their first win against Birmingham. Bristol as well, Ashton Gate, the men's stadium, 3,000, well, just over 3,000. There was 2 Tier 7 teams as well, which isn't very well mentioned, made the second round of the FA Cup. And John, I know you'd kill me if I didn't shout out Stourbridge in Tier 5 beating a Tier 3 side. So, there are positives to take from it. We can clearly see there that the marketing and the attendances have had some impact. Moving to men's grounds in some clubs' cases has been a bonus. But I think for me, and I'll start with you, Anthony, if we're looking at these attendances and we're saying, well done, this is great, how then do we go about keeping it? Because I know we were briefly sort of touching on it before, and I know you briefly mentioned it, but how do you think we could retain fans? Have you got a specific way you feel, or maybe is it something that's a general in terms of, like I say, because I referenced our Reading game in our Conti Cup campaign in season 1, 5k, but yet we averaged sort of 2,500 at Lee, and we have done since season 1 roughly. It's a bit mismatched, isn't it? But what do you think we can do to improve it? I mean, would it be something as simple as every men's international break we do Women's Football Weekend, or do you think that's going to sort of overshadow and dilute the meaning of it?
I think it would dilute some of the meaning to it if you had it every time there's an international break, because there's about 4 or 5 of them a year. So, well, I don't know how many is in the actual schedule of when we have our games, but there's been at least 3 this season. So that's like, no, the Women's Football Weekend, it's a weekend. It's called Women's Football Weekend for a reason, because it's just one weekend of the year. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's plugging the attendance with like advertising and that, but like you said, trying to get people to keep going with our. I think one of our problems are United is it's being where we're playing. I feel if the transport connection was a bit better, I know we've discussed it before, like put on some coaches from Old Trafford if we're going to keep playing at League, because I've done the V1 bus. We did that the last championship game of the season, but it's not something you want to be doing week in, week out. It's a ball ache, and it's not. It doesn't even drop you anywhere near the stadium. You got like a good 10-15 minute walk, and if you're in tow with your 2 kids or that, or you've got people who struggle to walk or in wheelchairs and that, then it's that as well, isn't it? It's the accessibility of getting to the ground. And you're not going to go through all of that just to get to a game, unfortunately. How do we keep attendances? Well,
just as a general, not even Man United, like
I know. It's keeping it plugged attendance, like advertising, and that is keeping people, letting people know through social media and stuff. It is a difficult one because I feel like you got your hardcore fans will be there week in, week out, majority of the time. The only time they won't be there if they have to work or Christmas or something. And then you've got your fans that go to a few games a season. Then you got your ones that go to maybe like one game. It's them fans that you need to be encouraging throughout the whole league that to come back. So I don't know whether, I know it's a money thing, but I don't know whether doing an offer like buy one. It's a bit different to the men's, isn't it? It's a bit cheaper. So buy one ticket, get one ticket half price is a bit. It doesn't quite have the same effect as the men's game. But I'll be interested to hear what everyone else's thoughts are on it. But it's just advertisement's quite a good one. But then it's letting people know about stuff, isn't it? It's all like I keep mentioning it, but it's all about making sure people are aware and making it more accessible. But
let's jump in there. I think we kind of focus too much on attendances. I think, if you look at the growth in attendances, like I said earlier, for a lot of clubs, it's big. Everton's growth over the last couple of years from a couple of hundred to sort of 800 this weekend is big. Leicester's growth from a couple of hundred to 2,500 is huge. So we're seeing big growth, and I think that the kind of growth is either coming from one of two things. It's either going sort of closer to where, not necessarily where the men play, but closer to the town. So going from Southport to Liverpool was great for Everton. Going from Quorn to a bigger stadium in Leicester was great for Leicester. I don't think that was a case of kind of going into Leicester. I think they're just going to a better stadium that people want to go to. I think the thing with United is if they move, they're going to go to a worse facility. They're going to go to a stadium. Stadium is not as good. It's not as well equipped, and where car parking facilities are just not as good. So
where would United move to?
Exactly. There's nowhere full to go to. If you're kind of looking at going sort of into Manchester, you could go to Altrincham maybe, or Bury potentially. Gig Lane potentially. They're looking for
Old Trafford. You reckon Old Trafford would be too big?
Yeah, I just think Old Trafford would be so difficult. Like, Leicester are at the King Power, but this weekend they're having to play at the Pirelli. So you already need two stadiums in that sense anyway. So, let's say we move to Old Trafford or any team moves to their men's stadium permanently. Let's say Arsenal move to the Emirates. Arsenal in the Europa League start playing on Thursday nights, which means then Arsenal are going to be playing on Sundays, and therefore straight away there's a clash and the women can't play on Sunday. So I just think it's not going to work having a club where there's options in, if they're going to be playing in Europe and the women are playing on the Sunday, there's going to be clashes. I don't think Salford is a particularly good ground. The football team are looking to move to the rugby stadium, and the rugby team move to the football stadium, which seems like an immensely ridiculous decision in my head because it's weird. Lee, a lot of people like criticising Lee, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy that it's difficult to get to at all. It's really not difficult to get on the East Lancs and drive down the East Lancs, and it's really not difficult from town to get on the V1 bus that takes you straight into Lee Town Centre. So, there's a 10-minute walk from Lee Town Centre out to the ground, but how many times do football fans get on the train and then have to walk from the train station to the football ground? I just don't buy that it's difficult. Sure, it takes a bit of effort, but it's not hard. It's not any different to going and supporting a men's team where you've got to walk from a train station. If you were going to watch Oldham by public transport, then you've got to walk miles from the nearest tram station, right? So AJ Bell Stadium, there's already like loads of teams that play there. So again, it'd just be ridiculous with clashes. You've got Sale playing there at the moment until they build their new place. And if Salford City move in there as well, then there's going to be more clashes. So 3 teams playing in one stadium is just not particularly viable. I don't think, if you're looking at kind of during the winter where you've got Sale Sharks playing some weekends, and then you've got Salford City playing the other weekend, and you're trying to get United games in between, that pitch is going to be an absolute mess by the end of it, having rugby on there and football on there. I think Stuart's right. I think we just need to, and I'll put this comment up again, I think we just need to be patient. Like, we are seeing growth in attendances, and I think people are expecting attendances to grow like exponentially and double every year and sort of fly through the roof. But actually, women's football, although it's kind of important for us, in the grand scheme of things, it's still pretty niche. So, I think we kind of need to take stock of where we are and look at where we've come from in the last few years and look at where the pockets of growth are and celebrate that, because it is growing, it is getting bigger. We've got, a home Euros next year. We saw big growth after the last World Cup. We sort of saw things kick on from there. I think we'll see things kick on again from next year. I think what you need to do is make people want to go to the games, and then people will go. If people don't want to go, they're not going to go, whether it's at the King Power or whether it's at Quorn or whether it's at Old Trafford or whether it's at Lee. You've got to make the products when people want to go and watch. And I think, the fact that you can now sort of get it up on TV is going to help with that. And I'll let John jump in then.
Yeah, sorry, just before my internet goes again. 2 or 3 things that took my attention there. So you just, Gareth, saying that people need to want to go, people need to enjoy it, and we'll talk about that shortly. Jockey saying fans from the men's game. I think that's partly it. I think that's a massive part of it, but not the only thing. And then John Hume about getting people out to the house to watch it at stadiums. So I think one thing that we're good at on Orphan United and our little group of fans that we've got is that we. It's not just about the game, is it? It's about the interaction between us. We have a meal beforehand, we'll have a drink, we'll interact, we'll enjoy each other's company. And obviously that's something that you can't do at home. So, I don't want to name people, but they very often watch these shows. They either appear as contributors on the shows. They would have probably never have gone to every game or even come to more than one game if it wasn't for the rest of us, making them feel welcome and actually enjoying themselves. And it's not just about us, it's about everyone. So I think that's a big thing when they come to the game. Are they enjoying themselves? When was the last time that any of us got an email from the club saying, have you been to a women's game? Did you enjoy it? What went well? What didn't do well? What would you do different? Where's all the feedback there? You never ask for feedback. Never. So there's a lot of things there where people might have come once, thought, it was okay, and then probably didn't come back because it wasn't maybe bowled over by it, or they never built that relationship with other fans in the stadium because it's all so quiet. But again, there's no feedback there whatsoever. The men's game, really important. Look, if just 1% of men's fans come to LSV and stay, then brilliant, job done. But it's obviously proving not that easy. Me personally, I do target the men's fans because that's what I want. I just want, just 1 in every 100 fans just to at least give it a go. And then if just some of those stay, like the fact, like Connor and Andrew, Wall and Stuart, these guys come from the men's game and they absolutely love it now. They come to more games than they miss. More people need to try it, but then obviously once they've tried it, they need to stay as well. And again, what are the club doing to get their feedback? What are we doing as fellow fans to help them stay? Do we give them the information? Because it's one thing watching a game, but if you don't know who the players are, or if you don't know anything about them, then that's tough as well, isn't it? So to learn about the players, you can watch YouTube channels like this. There's plenty of people in the comments who do YouTube and podcasts as well. There's so much we can do as fans, and I think we can always look at the FA, what can the FA do, but we're not really in control. We're not really in control of that. We are in control of ourselves. So I just think that we just need to keep pushing it ourselves. Keep talking about it, keep raising awareness, and then when they do come to the stadium, look after them. We've got one more person coming to the stadium who's never come to LSV before. She's coming on against Arsenal this Sunday. You can guarantee she's going to be back because she's going to come. She's going to be standing with us lot before, after, and during the game, and she's going to be enjoying it. And she's going to want to come back. She's going to tell her friends. She's got a YouTube channel. She's got some followers. People will see her enjoying herself, and then they'll keep coming back as well. And that's the way it is. But I can see a few more comments on it if you want to read them, Matt. But for me,
I was going to start a bit higher up, John.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
only because we're going. I wanted to go right back to the news. We're sort of talking here about clubs not fully buying into women's football, and I think for me that's kind of where it starts. John, you were talking about us sort of doing YouTube and promoting it, which is great. But for me, the onus isn't just fans. Fans for me play a small percentage. At the end of the day, yes, we're doing this because we enjoy it, and we do it for our love of the game to promote it. But at the end of the day, us four sitting on here and all our guests, we're not getting paid to do it. Whereas people working at clubs are getting paid to promote the club, to do the advertising, to do the marketing. Like you say, simple things such as feedback. Again, another initiative Stu talks about here, Her Game Too. Lack of awareness and real support for women's football and women lack of support for women's football and women in football. Things like that are massive. Sang talks about marketing. I think marketing's slowly improving for me personally. But again, like you said, John, something as simple as a survey sent out every 3-4 months makes a massive difference. Scroll down and see what else we've got. Obviously, Stu mentioned when Gareth was talking about, men's stadiums, and, I'm with him on that. Again, for me, not really a fan of it. And I did talk about this the other day. I think it was Benny that was sort of talking about the game at Old Trafford.
You were rambling then.
Oh, yeah, he was rambling for a good while. Got an email from Durham asking if we enjoyed it. I actually didn't, because I got an email before I'd even attended the game, and I unsubscribed because it was begging me to come to a random game against some other.
I did the same against Rangers. I had to unsubscribe to Rangers today. Too many.
But it's just one of them things, isn't it? I think sort of finding out. I mean, John, I was joking in the chat, wasn't I? Saying we can tell you work in retail. It's like customer service and customer satisfaction, and it is. Obviously that is a big part. And you talk about making people feel welcome and enjoying it, which is fantastic. And we do get so many people say it's good that you go to other games as well as, and obviously you yourself, John, you've took some to Stour in the past, but I think it's one of them, isn't it? John Hume here again. Getting people out of the house, that's a massive thing. I think it's great that, and we all love the sort of Sky and BBC One, BBC Two, but it's like he says there, the sticking point is getting people out the house. You think now, November, December, blowing a gale, absolutely freezing, and I think Gareth, you've talked about this in the past, haven't you? I think you used the word fair weather fan. You can easily sit and chill at home with your fire on and your food. Whereas, or FA player in that case, it's getting people out. And like I say, it's not a shambles, it's getting better. It's just we need to, for me, and I'm sure for you lot as well, just raise it a little bit more to get that boost, really. That fans, 3K or 3 years it was, wasn't it? It was the ambitious target for 6K minimum, which look at I think, are they going to get there? Your likes of your West Hams, your Birminghams, probably not. But anyway, I'm going to move on. Conti Cup, Anthony, we'll start with you, buddy. Derby day again tomorrow. Love a derby day. We usually love a derby day. We love the occasion, maybe not the results. Man City has been, and John did a little bit of promo for me before without even knowing. He put out a little survey and he was saying, would you rotate or would you go full strength? So I'm going to ask you that very same question tomorrow against City. And if you're rotating, how many or who?
Personally, I would go full strength. I know you've got Arsenal on the weekend, but you have to think about the game ahead. And you want to give the biggest possible chance of winning, and especially against your rivals, Man City, you don't want to be giving them the confidence of, oh, okay, they've gone a bit weaker. That doesn't mean I think he will go full strength. I think there'll be there'll be a change in goal. I think there might be potentially one change in defence, and then there could be I reckon there could be 3 or 4 changes, in my view. But it's difficult, isn't it? Because one of the changes we could say, well, that should be a change every week. I'm not going to mention names, but I think you know where I'm coming from. But no, you go out. It's a cup. I think we'd be stupid to go 2 week. I think we have got a strong enough squad to rest a few players, but I don't think you can go and throw like some too many like young youth players. Would be nice to give like Fuso a chance and that in a position. Tooney's played a lot of football, so I'd be quite happy if she was one of the players that did get a night off, personally. But like I said, I don't want us to go too soft. We want to beat City, especially after drawing to Durham and only getting that extra point through penalty. Man City have won 2 out of 2. We need, if we're going to qualify as winners, then we need to be beating City. And then even when we are beating City, that's not half the problem, is it? Because City have scored goals, so it's goals again, which we don't score enough, unfortunately. So I could possibly see in there being another penalty shootout. I know City are a bit leaky. We all know their injury problems and that, but if you look at the game against them at Lee, we still couldn't get the 3 points. So it wouldn't surprise me if we had another penalty shootout tomorrow. I really do. But other than that, no, I would like full strength, but there'll be a few changes.
Yeah, I think I agree. You know, I think I've got draw written all over it, but I'll pass to you, John, and let you chuck in what you think.
I can see both sides of it, but I'm not going to sit on the fence on this one because I want him to make changes. Because if it gets to the end of the season and you know what the fans are going to be like, oh, he's never rotated, he's never played the youth, he's never played Fuso, never done this, never done that. This is the weakest cup. This is we'd much rather go to Wembley and watch us get to the FA Cup final more than the Conti, even though I do love the Conti Cup. I know some people don't. So if you're going to rotate anywhere, it's going to be in this cup. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm not even going to say that we'll go in as favourites if we rotate, because we probably won't. And then Skin will come under scrutinism then, because we could potentially lose 2-0 against City at home. But you can't have it both ways, can you? So to me, if you're going to start playing, I'm not saying everyone, by the way, but you are going to start playing maybe 1 or 2 of the youngsters, and I'm including Fuso in that as well when we talk about youngsters. Then this needs to be the tournament to do it. So for me, the way I would kind of line up is I'd probably keep 3 of the 4 defenders, because I don't think you can really change them, but with injuries, etc. So I could probably bring in 1 fullback that we're not used to seeing, maybe. Goalkeeper, which I don't think would change too much, because we know Sophie is very strong anyway. The midfield probably speaks for itself now because of injuries. So it's just like maybe 2 or 3 fun players as well. Maria Edwards on the bench, Fuso can start. Martha Thomas is back now, so she can start, which means that Tooney or Russo could be rested. So it's still like a decent lineup. You've still taken a team there that's going to potentially win City. Whether or not we should be going into any game as the underdogs by choice, then I'm not too sure. But like I say, you're never going to play these youngsters again. What happens if in the FA Cup we have one easy round and then we play a Championship team or a WSL team again? We're not going to play any youngsters again, are we? So I think, if your mind's made up that, okay, I'm going to bring through the youth, I'm going to give them game time, then give them the experience. It's a Manchester derby. These players will be up for this. This is a great experience. I'm not going to get it anywhere else. So, just do it. And then what will be, will be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll struggle to play Maria Redwood's John because she was in the boot the other week.
Yeah.
Whatever he does, there will be fans on Twitter that aren't happy. I think we've seen already some people just got it in for him, and whatever he does won't be good enough for some people. And judging by certain responses, whatever happens, it won't be the right thing, and people will bitch and moan on Twitter. I think it depends what you want from the season. We can't sit here 3 months ago and saying, okay, this season we really need to be going for a trophy, and then say let's rotate and not count the cups. If we want to go for a trophy, then we go for this trophy and we play a full strength squad tomorrow. If we want to go for the league, then you rotate and you rest players for Arsenal. It depends what the priorities are this season. For me, sure, I want to play in the Champions League. I still don't think we're going to get there. I think City will bounce back and we'll get there ahead of us anyway. I think their squad from 1 to 11 more or less is pretty much stronger. That's when they get their players back, they'll kind of be there anyway. I think, if we're saying top 3, like Robert in the comments has said, third is the priority, then we rotate. If the priority this year is winning something, which, I know Ukraine, you've sat on here before and have said that needs to be the aim for this season, then you go for it, because we're not going. If you don't win tomorrow, we're not going out of this group. So tomorrow, in terms of progression, is pretty much must win. If we lose that, we're out of the Conti Cup. And then it's kind of the FA Cup is our only opportunity to win something, because we're not going to win the league. We have got some injuries. The midfield, people saying I'll play Bo Risa. That looks likely to happen because Lad's out, Jackie's out. So it kind of means that she's going to get the opportunity to play again anyway. I think playing Fuso is a shout. We saw her play well against Durham. Potentially, deserves the opportunity to have a crack. Maybe kind of switch a fullback, but I wouldn't make massive changes. Sort of 3, 4, like Anthony said. I wouldn't make any more than that. I probably wouldn't rest Leslie. I'd start her, and if she's fit enough to play 60 minutes, then let's play her for the first 60 minutes, and then take her off and see what happens after that. Because I feel like if you look at her goal scoring record, that we're not going to beat City if we're not playing Russo. I don't think. We could start with Martha Thomas, give Martha Thomas a run out. But I think you want your best players on the pitch, and you can kind of then build around that and go from there. But I just think it's a lose-lose situation for Skinner. Like whatever he does, the reaction is going to be probably largely negative. I think that's kind of a problem really with the club in general at the moment, kind of on men's and women's side, is that there is just an air of negativity about everything. But I'm optimistic. I'm positive. I think as long as whoever plays takes shots and puts pressure on Taib, assuming that Taib starts, because there's literally no other goalkeepers for them, then the opportunities will be created. I don't think Leah Galton's had a particularly good start to the season, so we'd probably rest her and give Fusa a chance on that side.
Do you reckon that's a tactical thing though? Do you reckon Leah's not had a good start because of the way we're playing, or do you reckon she's short of fitness and confidence?
I just think she's just not had a good start. I don't think it's necessarily tactics.
No.
I just don't think she's had a great start, because Hansen had a good start, and if it was like an issue with tactics and the wing play, then I don't think we'd have seen kind of Kirsty Hansen have the good start that she had. I just don't think Leah's had a great start. I know there was talk that that we that she was having suffering from long COVID, which is potential. I just think let's use the squad, but let's put a strong squad out that's going to go and win the game. Let's not make sort of like 6-7 changes. Let's go with a defense that's going to be pretty solid, because they are going to be strong in attack. We can kind of predict the kind of players that they're going to be playing. You imagine we're going to likely potentially to see Jill Scott a centre back, so you want a bit of pace in that attack to kind of put pressure on her. I think Stu's right here in saying that use the squad, but use it wisely. I think we should see Fuso play. I'd probably play a front three of Hansen, Fuso, probably Russo as well. I think make a few changes, but nothing too big, because if we want to win a trophy this season, this competition is going to be one where we've got a really good opportunity to do that. And in order to do that, we have to win tomorrow.
Can I just jump in on that as well, Matt, just before you start the next
Is this before you kill me, show? I'd have to go on.
No, just very quickly. So I just mentioned that poll that we put out. I just checked the results. It's bang on 50-50 after 38 votes. So in other words, before a ball's even kicked, when that starting lineup gets announced, half the fan base is going to be unhappy with what they see. Just thought I mentioned that.
Tough. Yeah. I was going to jump in on. I'm going to take it right back to one of Gareth's earlier points. I think for me, we do need to pick up a win tomorrow, and I think it's massively important. You look at, we got 2 points against Durham. Let's assume we get another 3 against Leicester. That's 5. We've got to go to Everton away, which we cocked up at the weekend. So that's not guaranteed 3 points at the minute as we're playing now. And City, even despite their injuries and getting battered in the league most weeks, listen, they're still topping our group. So I think if we don't, and we have a second season of a poor showing in the cup, regardless of it being a different manager, because it's similar players, I don't think that'll sit well with the fan base. And, Gareth, you talked about people being unhappy either way. I think that'll be used as a stick to beat Mark further with, being perfectly honest. So I think, massively important. You talked about a dodgy keeper. And Jill Scott being about as fast as a snail. I'd agree. I think, get that ball down that's played. The chance is there to attack with intent.
I didn't say that. I didn't say...
Oh, well. Either way. I think for me, reading what their fans say. Am I breaking up?
No, I think it's Gareth.
I thought it was Gareth as well. I'm sort of sat here thinking what's going on. Anyway, I'll continue. City do have these injuries, and I think for me, we do need to, and I've talked about this, just literally go for it and sort of attack with pace and power. But I think looking at it, and I read comments after their 4-0 loss, there's fans absolutely slating Gareth Taylor. And I think that loss at the weekend was the worst I'd seen the criticism sort of thrown his way. But I think you look at it, I've seen a lot of criticism of tactics, but what I can't get my head around is why, when he's got Ruby Mason and Alana Kennedy on the bench, is Jill Scott still playing at centre half? Why Stanway at fullback? Surely one of them two. I mean, Mace potentially not at fullback, but Alana Kennedy's played at centre half before, would be a good shout. He's got Vicky Lasada, Hayley Rasso on the bench. So, looking at it from my point of view for tomorrow, and, this is always going to make it sound easier than it is, but it does seem that they are there for the taking. And I know we said this in the league game, but, I think if we're getting a point or 2 points tomorrow, in terms of Conti Cup, it's not going to look good, is it? And I think, where's it gone? Oh, Stu was asking about Skinner's priority, or his goal for the season. Who knows? I think you've got a squad, you've got to use it. We're not looking great in the league. We're not looking too clever in the cup at the minute. So tomorrow's game for me is sort of not do or die, but we need to be taking more than a point at least away from it. Are you going to jump in there, John?
Yeah, I want to jump in on that one because I've been sitting patiently. So I love all this talk about skin and doctor. You know what I'm like. I think if I'm a Glazer, I wouldn't care one iota if you finish 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe 7th a little bit. But if you finish 4th, 5th, or 6th, I don't think it matters to the owners. I don't think he's expected to get into the top 3 this season. I think they'd probably like a cup, but probably not expecting it. So I'm not saying he's got a free hit, but the fact that he's not had any transfer windows or anything like that as well, I don't think he's going to be feeling the pressure that maybe the fans of the collective would probably want him to feel at the moment. I think that might answer the question a little bit.
I think for me, Gareth Taylor's under more pressure looking at it from the outside. But I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not following City, but carry on, John.
No, that was it.
No, no, that's fine. Do you know what? Then we'll go round. We've got a couple of minutes left. We'll go round. We'll start with you, Anthony. We'll go to John and then Gareth for a score prediction.
I'm going to go for 2-2 again.
Who's winning the shootout then?
I'll be confident because I'm going to be negative on the weekend. We will.
So Anthony's going for a repeat of last year with a shootout win and Greenwood to miss. No, I'm joking. You might not be this year, might be somebody else. But go on, John, take it away.
Me and Anthony, if you watch our shows on Friday midday, little plug there for you, Anthony. We out of all the predictions that we make, half of them, more than half of them are wrong, but half of them are at least similar. And this one's the same. I was going to say a 2-2 as well, but I'm not going to say the same. So I'm going to be positive on this one and say a 2-1 win.
Interesting. Gareth?
I'm going to say 2-1 as well. I was going to say that regardless before John changed his mind. I just think we've got the quality and we'll just go for it.
Anyone want to answer Stu's next question? Anybody watch Ted Lasso?
Who?
That makes me think I should maybe leave that one there. Then John's looking as confused as well as Anthony. So
I don't even watch the TV. Is it on TV? I don't even know.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll answer it with a no. I don't watch it, but no. I think for me, you've all gone 2-1. Oh well, apart from Anthony, two of you gone 2-1. I'm struggling. I'm going to have to stick with what I said before. I'm going to go 1-1 and a shootout win. So I'm trying to think, but then they've still got Lauren Hemp, even though Ellen White's out of form. She causes us issues. So I think I'll go for 1-1 and a shootout win for me, just to add a little bit of spice to it. And then we can all go home happy before the weekend against Arsenal where, anything could happen. Come to the end of the show. So thank you to everybody for the comments, for tuning in. John, go on. I'll let you take the agenda away. Make a change from me doing it.
Yeah, I now know who Ted Lasso is.
I've just Googled it. I've Googled it.
So no,
I've Googled it, Stu. No, I don't.
So what day is it? Tuesday. If you want to watch more of us tonight, by the way, me, Andy O'Nions and Maisie will be chatting on Maisie's channel about women's football as well. So that is in half an hour's time. So if you're still awake, feel free to watch that one. Devils United, the YouTube channel is. So that should be interesting. On this channel, we've got pre-recorded show going out tomorrow, Wednesday night. That's with Natalie and Wolverhampton Wanderers fan talking about National League. So that's Wednesday night, and obviously some of our stuff on the road as well. So that'll be on our social medias, Twitter and Instagram. Thursday, me and Natalie will be talking to Manchester City fan Emma Sean, reviewing the game. So that could be very, very interesting either way. Natalie mentioned about all the criticism that Gareth Taylor's getting. You know, Emma's very polite in what she says, but she's very honest. So that'll be interesting to hear what she says, win or lose. Friday Night Fan Forum, that'll be hosted by Andy this week because I'm at work, but we've got a massive show there, Andy and Connor and Cole. Hang on, I'm coming to you. I thought.
It's before the night, though, isn't it?
I know. I'll go through all the live shows first, but okay, I'll come back to that. Okay. So because I'm at work, doing a first aid course, I won't be able to do the prediction show. So Connor will be standing in for me with you, Anthony. So hopefully Connor can get some points on the board for me because I'm lagging behind a little bit, aren't I?
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah, slightly. So that's at midday on Friday.
Story of his life, that.
And then Saturday over to you and Ben Matt with the Saturday Night Live. Is it live this week, or have we got something else planned?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, listen, it's an Arsenal prediction show, but I do apologise. I know we did say, but yeah, it's one of them. So unfortunately, we're having to pre-record that, and I know people are going to flatten us, but we'll take the hit. So I'm very sorry. But Sunday, though, Sunday we'll bring you some quality content anyway on the road. Well, not on the road, down the road in my case. But yeah, match day content as well. So 2 lots of match day content. So I'm sure that makes up for it. And I'm sure people will get videos out to go with it as well. So yeah, thank you.
Check out Karen. I'm not
Karen
too
does
sure
some good stuff.
She just goes, we retweeted what we can. Sometimes we upload it if she sends it to us directly. But yeah, we've got some great footage there that only we capture. So it is good to see, especially Tooney's goal where she celebrated and looked straight at the camera. So yeah, brilliant video by Karen there.
Lovely. Well, that's that then. So thank you very much. And we will catch you for match day content tomorrow.
Take care.